Hey everybody, it's wintertime in Denver, Colorado where I live. And some people will say, well, I don't feel like going out. There's no animals. I don't want to photograph. It's cold or it's snowy. And I'm here to get you excited about wildlife photography in the middle of winter. And I'm going to cover my 5 favorite parks where they don't charge an entrance fee and they're open all the time and you can find tons of wildlife even in the heart of the winter. I'm going to use a Sony camera. And I'm going to use the Sony 200-600 f5.6 to 6.3 lens. And we're going to cover my 5 favorite wildlife parks in the Denver, Colorado area. So come with me now. Let's go get some wildlife photography in. It's very early in the morning in the Denver, Colorado area. And I'm heading to one of my favorite parks for winter wildlife. The first park I want to cover is Belmar Park in Lakewood. Now this park has a big lake with a trail that goes all the way around it. And even after the coldest spell in the middle of the winter, there's usually some open water here which attracts waterfowl. A lot of those waterfowl are going to be geese. But these geese are habituated to humans and they're easy to get close to, and so you can get some unique shots. And it's also a great place to practice flight shots of the geese. So there's almost always friendly mallards here as well, and they allow very close approaches. Numerous mallards will also be flying by and flying in and landing, and that allows also for great flight shots. So I've seen some nice birds of prey here as well. Mostly they're red-tailed hawks, both adults and juveniles. Perhaps the red-tailed hawks are hunting the muskrats, because I've seen lots and lots of muskrats here, and usually they swim by, but occasionally they stop for a bite of cattail, and you can get some good shots of muskrats at this park. Another very common species here is the northern shoveler. These are dabbling ducks, and I've managed to get some of my favorite waterfowl images of the shovelers from Belmar in the winter. I've gotten reflection shots, close-ups, dabbling shots where you get that great drop of water coming off their beak. And I've got classic wing stretch sequences and lots of flight shots and blast-off photos. So there's so many shovelers here that you can really get great shots of them. So, and on the protected south side of Belmar, I've had also fairly good luck with hooded mergansers. Now, usually they're fishing here and they catch crayfish or small fish. Also in this area, on the south shore, I've managed to capture some bufflehead images and some images of some rare or lesser seen species such as scaup, goldeneye, and green-winged teal, and even a cinnamon teal and a ring-necked duck here and there. Belmar is also good for cormorants. They'll be here in the winter, a few of them. But come spring, there's a little island out in the park with lots of snags, and the cormorants nest up in there, so you can really do good on cormorants later on in the year. Park number 2 is called Centennial Park, and this is in Englewood. This park is surrounded by city, but it's become one of my favorites in the winter because there's almost always the edges that are open water, whereas the middle of the lake freezes over. And birds congregate along those edges, and they mostly ignore people, so you can get fairly close. And the best birds to photograph here for me have been lots and lots of geese, bufflehead, and gulls and grebes as well. At this park I've seen mallards and shovelers flying in so you can practice your flight photography. And once in a while a bald eagle will fly over and send all the ducks into a tizzy over the fact that it's hunting. This park is really great for early morning sunrise light as well. From the south side, the reflecting light comes off the trees and it colors the water orange and red. And you can get beautiful shots. Some of them are be silhouettes of mergansers and other ones where you can see the detail as well, plus the colorful reflected light. And I've also seen several beavers come by here in the early morning. They do have a den over here on the south side, and you'll watch them swimming back to their den early in the morning. But by far, my favorite subject at Centennial is the mergansers. There are both hooded and common mergansers here all winter. And of course, as you know, mergansers are diving ducks, and they dive under the water for fish, and when they're successful, when one catches a fish, the others chase it around trying to steal the catch, and the gulls try to get in on the action, and it's an amazing photographic frenzy when you get these mergansers with fish in their mouth. I have the most fun with these guys, and that's at Centennial Park in Lakewood. Park number 3 that I want to talk about is called Crown Hill Park, and that's in Wheat Ridge. So this is a great oasis and a wildlife sanctuary among the surrounding development. It's good for mammals. I've seen deer and fox and coyotes at this park. And this young coyote was basically unafraid of me one morning, and he was out practicing his howls. And then along came another coyote, and the two of them stood together for a little while and allowed me to get photography in. So Crown Hill Park is also great for sunrises, and that's because you can find one or two isolated trees and you can get them against the colorful sky, and it's great for that type of shooting. There are also lots of songbirds here at Crown Hill, even in the winter. The deepest, darkest winter day, you'll find house finches and sparrows and magpies to point your camera at. So this lake mostly freezes over during cold spells, but any open water will always have mallards that you can get close to, and of course Canada geese as well. You want to always try to isolate one bird from the crowd, of course, for best results. And any open water in the winter usually also has a few hooded mergansers, and I've had the best luck with them just by sitting quietly on the north side of the lake and waiting for them to get used to me and come closer. But I think my favorite winter subjects at Crown Hill are the raptors. There's mainly Cooper's hawks, and kestrels who stay here all winter. Here was a beautiful male kestrel that sat on a fence post and allowed me a fairly close approach. Another one I found was all puffed up on a frigid day, and here was another who cruised by numerous times on a blue sky day and allowed me to get in some flight shots. So kestrels are notoriously skittish, but I found the ones at Crown Hill, they do allow a decently close approach if you move slowly and just have patience. Park number 4 is called Duck Lake. This is right at City Park in the middle of Denver. And you wouldn't think that this would be a good park to photograph, but I'm here to tell you that it's great. The park's north and east sides border the Denver Zoo, so you can't go over to that side. But the south and west sides are always open and they're free to visit anytime. And even after the coldest days or weeks during the winter, there's always some open water here at Duck Lake. And this, of course, attracts lots of waterfowl. Now, Canada geese are the most numerous, and they spend the nights on any of the open water, and they sometimes fly in or land in large numbers here. Of course, it's always good to try and isolate one or two individuals, as I've said, in your flight shots or your shots where they're sitting on the ice. So cormorants are also here in the winter, and their numbers greatly increase once spring arrives because this park also has an island where the cormorants nest. And I've also found that because the Denver Zoo is just across the water, the magpies have figured out how to steal food from animals there, and this one flew by with what looks like ground beef in its beak, and I thought it was a nice shot. So even though this is a city park, bald eagles sometimes cruise by as well. And they send the waterfall going crazy because the eagles are hunting. All that though, all of those things that I just listed I would call extras, because the real star of the show here at Duck Lake are the golden-eyed ducks. And they fly in and out, and they land, and they preen, and they do their wing flapping, and they constantly dive for crayfish and small fish. I've seen them get crayfish so many times, and what they do is they manipulate it for a couple of minutes while they're breaking off the crayfish's claws. And so it allows you time to get great shots of these guys with crayfish in their bills. And that's my favorite thing at Duck Lake is the golden eyes catching crayfish. My last recommended park is called Prospect Park, and this is in Wheat Ridge. This is a very diverse park. It's part of the Wheat Ridge Greenbelt, and there are numerous lakes here. And also, Clear Creek flows right through the park. So, the open water of Prospect and Tabor Lakes attracts plenty of geese and shovelers. It's a great place to practice your flight photography of these guys. Clear Creek rarely freezes over. There's almost always open water there, and you can get close to mallards and green-winged teal and goldeneye down here at the creek. I usually see kingfishers when I'm here at this park, and they're around the creek area as well. Of course, they're shy, as is normal for kingfishers. And even on the coldest days, I've seen northern flickers, and even American robins, and plenty of other wildlife like rabbits and fox squirrels as well. I've seen bald eagles often cruise by at Tabor Lake, and there's lots and lots of ring-billed gulls, so you can practice your flight shots. Look at this one. He had stolen a crayfish from a merganser, and this one had just tried to steal a crayfish from a merganser who went back underwater to get away from the gull. But my favorite subject at Prospect Park is the hooded mergansers who dive for crayfish. And Prospect Park's a great place to watch this action and the action of geese and ducks flying by. There's always something here to photograph even in the winter. Well, that sure was a lot of fun, going to those parks with you and showing you the amount of wildlife that we can find in the middle of winter at my 5 favorite parks in the Denver area. I just love those mergansers with the fish and all the other things that we saw. Thank you for coming with me on this journey, and I appreciate you watching my videos.